AP and DP, SEC, ACC, ACC, SEC. I'm AP Stedham from Lower Alabama, along with my co-host, DP, Doug Parrish, former University of California defensive back extraordinaire. Doug, what is this, week 9 of college football?
I'm telling you, it's flying by, AP. It's just great football coverage, though, across the board.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I always tell people, they're asking me if I can wait till the college football season arrives. I say, yes, I can, because it's like you're on a racetrack. Every week, the season passes by, and you're thinking, it's Thursday already. I'll be on the road on Friday or Saturday.
I'm telling you. I love it, though. I love the energy and excitement.
Oh, yeah. So, Doug, we have 7 games in the Southeastern Conference this week, so I guess I'll get it started. We have the Alabama Crimson Tide, ranked number 4 in the Football Writers Association National Football Foundation Super 16 poll. They're 6-1, 4-0, undefeated in the conference. Playing at South Carolina, Columbia. South Carolina 3-4, overall 1-4 in the conference. South Carolina is a 12-point underdog. This series, Doug, Alabama leads 12-4. Doug, when you play these games, you're the underdog. You can't have the average. I mean, South Carolina's averaging 20 points a game. Alabama's scoring 35. If Alabama scores just 1 touchdown less, they still win the game. So you have to play exceptional, get some turnovers, more possessions, probably score more than your average, I would say, because Alabama's a high-scoring team, and South Carolina really is just sputtering along offensively. They also surrender 20 points a game. Alabama gives up 17 points a game. So Alabama's double-digit favorite, should win this game. They're trying to be in the college football playoff, earn a berth. So looking at this ball game, Ty Simpson and company, he's been an exceptional quarterback since that Florida State opener, the double-digit loss down in Tallahassee. Norris Sellers has struggled, offensive line. Robinette has supported him enough where he can be exceptional. So, but South Carolina, if they want to win this ball game, they have to do something better than their averages.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So game 2, we're moving on. Auburn plays at Arkansas. Arkansas is a 1-point favorite at this point. Auburn 3-4, 0-4 in the conference. Auburn has not won a game in the conference, Doug. Wow, and Arkansas is 2-5, 0-3, have not won a game in the conference as well. So Arkansas, we know they score a lot of points, Doug. 37 points a game. Auburn 23 points a game. They're struggling. They're pretty good defense, 18 points a game. Arkansas on the other end gives up 32 points a game, Doug. So if Arkansas can score near their average, they'll probably win this ball game. I would think it would be close. Hugh Freeze is the coach presently for Auburn.
Right.
The seat's getting pretty hot over there when you don't have a win in the conference. Some close ball games. They make mistakes, Doug, constantly, turnovers, penalties. Yeah. They've had trouble. Arkansas can score points, Doug. They lost last week 45-42 to Texas A&M. You score 40 points and you still lose.
Wow.
Overtime loss for Auburn against Mizzou, 23-17. I just want to go back to the Alabama team. Just step back for a second. They beat Tennessee last week, 37-20. South Carolina hosted Oklahoma, lost 26-7. So those are the first 2 games they had. So I suspect that when it's a 1-point favorite, Doug, it's really like a pick 'em almost.
That's right.
Right. But if Arkansas scores a lot of points, I don't see Auburn catching them, Doug. I really don't. Bobby Petrino's the interim coach there. Next ball game, we have Tennessee, Kentucky. Tennessee, 2 losses in the conference, 2-2, 5-2 overall. They lost to Alabama, as I said, 37-20 in Tuscaloosa. They're playing in Lexington, Kentucky versus the Wildcats. The Wildcats 2-4, another team winless in the conference. Kentucky, valiant effort, overtime effort, 16-13, and a loss to Texas Longhorns. Excuse me, Tennessee, 44 points a game, Doug. That's second in the country. Yeah. 22 points a game for Kentucky. Their offense is below average. Excuse me, Tennessee gives up 30 points a game, Doug, defensively.
That's a lot.
Kentucky gives up 25, so that's another game where I think that Tennessee, if they hit anywhere near their average, Kentucky can't keep up offensively. Tennessee leads the series, 84 wins, 26 losses, 9 ties. So that's the first 3 games I have in the SEC, Doug. And like I said, Tennessee, I think the 2 big favorites should win. That Arkansas-Auburn game, probably a toss-up.
Understood, AP. Well, throwing it over here to the ACC, we have a showdown coming your way. Yes, Boston College will be taking on the 19th ranked Louisville Cardinals. I think last week I was just asking you, like, AP, what is the issue with Louisville? Why aren't they ranked in the top 25
Right.
or so? And then they squeaked in with the 19th ranking overall right now this week. And Louisville finally cracked the top 25, AP. They're sitting at 5-1, and they're looking good to become bowl eligible with a win against Boston College. Quarterback Miller Moss has thrown for over 1,600 yards, and Isaac Brown is running tough with 440 yards on the ground. Chris Bell has been their big play guy with about 638 yards receiving. Now on the Boston College side, AP, they're just 1-6, but they've got some playmakers actually. Dylan Lonergan, we talk about him weekly. He's got nearly 1,400 yards passing. Turbo Richardson as the balance right in the backfield, but Lewis Bunn can stretch the field. On the defensive side, for Boston College, they got KP Price that leaves the team with 55 tackles, AP. Now, if Louisville can, obviously they're going to be the heavy favorite in this game, but Boston College is desperate and they need a spark, and desperate times creates desperate measures. So they may come out with some unique plays that you haven't even seen before. I guess if I was a coach, that's what I would do, right? Because continuing to do the same thing over and over again is a form of insanity. But we'll see. We'll see how the Eagles make out, and it should be interesting playing down in Louisville. So my second game is Cal at Virginia Tech, another ACC showdown, which creates a long trip across the country for the Cal Golden Bears. They're packing their bags, they're heading east. They're going to be playing in Blacksburg, Virginia. This is the first time they've played against each other, AP, so there's no novelty. There's no history of them competing against each other. Cal comes into this game, AP, 5-2. They're playing with a ton of confidence, and, the storyline starts with, guess who? Their quarterback, true freshman, JKS. He's having a fantastic season, AP. He's got over 1,700 yards passing. He's been sharp. He's been efficient. He's really taken a command of the offense, and the Bears are going to lean on their running back as well, Kendrick Raphael. He's got close to 500 yards rushing, and it's a two-headed punch, right? You got JKS in the air throwing the ball, slinging it all over the field. Then you come back, hand the ball off to Kendrick Raphael. It's been working very well for Justin Wilcox, the head coach at Cal, and he has a dynamic player that I must mention, Jacob De Jesus. You know why I mentioned him, AP?
Why is that?
The guy can catch the ball, right? Wide receiver, dual threat, punt returner, kickoff returner, sensational player. And when he gets loose, if he gets a crack, he's gone. Katie barred the door. Defensively, Cade Uliave for Cal Berkeley. He's the captain of the team, AP. He leads the team with 62 tackles. He's setting the tone for the defensive unit. And guess what? Hezekiah Massis leads the country in interceptions. He's following in the footsteps of Noel Williams, who's playing next to Patrick Mahomes right now for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the real storyline is going to be this, AP, between you and I. Can Cal handle the cross-country travel, A?
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah, and then can they stay focused enough and physical enough to prevent Virginia Tech's aerial attack? Although they sit at 2-5, don't let the record fool you. They've got some pieces. They got Kyron Drones, as you know. He's athletic and he can hurt you with his legs. So Marcellus Hawkins has been on the ground. He's got just under 400 yards rushing on the season. And Aiden Green has emerged as a reliable wide receiver with 333 yards. So it's a classic East meets West competition between these two. And I'm looking forward to seeing a great competition in Blacksburg this weekend. My third game, AP, is Syracuse at Georgia Tech. Now, I've seen Georgia Tech live and up close, man. They're going to be on ESPN this weekend. They're ranked number 7 in the country. They're still undefeated at 7-0, and they're taking on Syracuse, who's sitting at 3-4. But they're always dangerous, AP. So the Yellow Jackets are rolling behind a dual threat quarterback. This guy, I love watching him play, AP. He's having an unbelievable year. He's got over 1,100 yards passing and nearly 600 rushing on the ground. So the guy is a dual threat who keeps the defense guessing. It is hard when you're a defensive player, as a former defensive back, trying to determine if this guy's going to take the ball and pass it or just tuck it away and run it down
Right.
your throat. So it's very tough to predict this kind of a player. But Syracuse has some players too. Steve Angeli at the quarterback. He's thrown for over 1,300 yards. Yassine Willis runs hard.
Yeah.
And he could.
No, Doug, I think Angeli, he's out, right? He's out. They got the other quarterback in there, right?
Yeah, but so among those two, Angeli he's questionable.
Yeah, he got injured, I think, Doug. I think they have. So there was that transfer from LSU. I can't. His name escapes me, but I think it's that LSU transfer.
Okay, we'll get our producer to double check on that.
Yeah, we'll predict. We'll check that before we come back after that.
Like we normally do if we have some questions about things. But Devion Kerr, he's picked off 3 passes on the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. So you got to look out for him to slow King down. That's what you need. So if Georgia Tech is chasing perfection, Syracuse is trying to play the spoiler in this game. And it should be a fun one, AP, to start out the weekend.
Yeah. Syracuse is a team that can upset you, but Georgia Tech they've been slipping by some games, undefeated. They have that winning mentality right now. Haynes King at the quarterback position, as you mentioned. So. Anyway, while you're checking the Syracuse quarterback situation, I'm going to move on to game number 4. Now, Doug, I'll be at this game in Baton Rouge, Texas A&M, sitting at number 3 in the country, 7-0, another undefeated team, 4-0 in the conference against 5-2 and 2-2 LSU. LSU coming up that loss in Nashville to Vanderbilt, 31-24. Texas A&M survived that Arkansas trip, 45-42. This series. LSU leads 32-24-3. A&M 36 points a game. LSU so-so offense, 25 points a game. Defensively, LSU about 15 points a game. Vanderbilt scored 31 last week, which is uncharacteristic of that defense. But LSU, that's been their strong point this year. Texas A&M, Doug, their defense, 23 points a game. They've given up some 40 points against Notre Dame and had some, tight ball, gave up 40 to Arkansas. So they just play enough defense to win these games. They're 7-0. LSU, they're have the 2 losses, Doug. They can't afford another one. So you're going to see them call every play under the sun. And here, Nussmeier, he's been average this year, really. The unoffensive lead, they don't have the offensive line. They can't run the football, though. They're 116th in the country. There's only 136 teams. They're 116th in the country running the ball. Now, defensively, Texas A&M does some interesting things, Doug. Number 6 in sacks, number 6 in tackles for loss. So those are 2 things where they're disruptive, but they like I say, they do give up some points, 40 a couple times at least minimum. So I think it'll be a good ball game. A&M's only favored by 2.5. And LSU must win the game. Texas A&M wants to win the game. That's 2 differences there. So we'll move on to the next game. Ole Miss, number 8, 6-1, 3-1, travels to Oklahoma, 6-1, 2-1. Oklahoma's a 4.5-point favorite in Norman. This game, the series, Ole Miss leads the series only 2 games to zip. They've only played twice.
Oh, really?
So 2 times, right? Those 2 schools. Ole Miss lost to Georgia last week, scored 35, gave up 43. Look, you have to play some defense. You want to win these ball games. Yeah, it's great. Lane Kiffin, known for offense. Yes, he has offense, but they play both sides of the ball. You want to, but Ole Miss has a very favorable schedule, Doug. They can lose this game, and it looks like they'll win the rest of their games. They would have the 2 losses. They would make the playoffs probably. Oklahoma beat South Carolina on the road, 26-7, 28 points a game. John Mateer, he hasn't been as good as advertised. I would say he did suffer the hand injury, so maybe that hampered him. They give up only 9-10 points a game. The number 1 defense in the country, only 213 yards, Oklahoma. And we know that something has to give with 37 points per game offense by Ole Miss. Ole Miss's defense, definitely suspect, give up 22 points a game. So just to give you an idea about Oklahoma, Doug, number 1 in sacks with 4 per game. Tackles for loss, they're number 1 with over 10 tackles for loss per game, Doug. So, wow. But they're 114th in turnovers, minus 0.71. Ole Miss is 107th at minus 0.57. So should be a very competitive game. Ole Miss on the road, they're usually not as good. They did put up the 35 last week, but defensively, like I said, gave up the 40. And I think Oklahoma, they're probably due, Doug, for a better offensive game. They scored 26 on the road, but that was against South Carolina.
Right.
They didn't score a touchdown against Texas. So I think they're probably looking forward to just playing more efficient on offense. John Mateer, maybe he's got healthier. They get some rhythm at home. Okay, game number 6, Doug. Texas 5-2, 2-1, coming off that overtime tough victory in Lexington, 16-13. They are struggling mightily on offense, Doug. 26 points per game, but only 16. It took them overtime to get 16 against a Kentucky team, right? That's not very good. They traveled to Starkville. That series, to play Mississippi State. That series is 3-2 in favor of Texas. Mississippi State 4-2. Another winless team in the conference, Doug. 0-3. Mississippi State. They play tough though. They were in position to win last week, Doug. Driving the field in field goal range against Florida, Gainesville. The quarterback Blake Shapen dropped back to pass. Defensive lineman, Doug, about 6'4", 370 pounds, intercepted the ball.
Oh, wow.
So they couldn't even have the field goal attempt. They would have won by a point if they made it. It was 23-21. So they suffered that loss at Gainesville. 32 points a game. Pretty good offense. Defensively, 20 points a game. That's 37th in the country. Texas's defense, Doug, 11 points per game. They're pretty good. 3rd in the country. So, but I think Texas, they might squeak this one out, but I wouldn't sleep on those Bulldogs, Doug. I just would. I saw them take Tennessee to overtime.
Yeah.
I saw them take Tennessee to overtime. Pretty good offensive team. Tennessee ended up scoring 40 plus, I think it was, to win in overtime. So both of these teams, Mississippi State is so hungry for a win.
Right.
And Texas is really holding on. They have the 2 losses, cannot afford another one if they want to reach the college football playoff. Last game on the schedule, Doug, big ball game in Nashville, Missouri, number 15th ranked, 6-1, 2-1, beat Auburn in overtime, 23-17, facing Vanderbilt, huge win against LSU last week, 31-24, 31 points on one of the better defenses in the conference. Sure. 6-1, 2-1, number 10 in the country, Doug. Favored to beat Missouri. Missouri,
wow.
39.
Of all teams.
Again, Vanderbilt favored again.
Yeah.
Last week favored. Now they're favored again. The series 13-4 and 1 in favor of Missouri. Missouri 39 points a game. Vanderbilt 41 points a game, Doug. Vanderbilt gives up 20 points a game. Missouri 16. Very similar type teams. Sacks, Missouri 3 per game, which is 12th in the country. Tackles for loss 7, which is 18th. Vanderbilt plays fairly good defense. Tackles for loss 14th in the country with 7, and 20th in sacks 2.86. So, but Vanderbilt's got a balanced offense. Both teams over 200 yards plus in the run and the pass.
Nice.
Missouri 486 yards, 457 for Vanderbilt. So real fun ball game to watch this weekend in Nashville. So, but that's all we have. The SEC, we have the byes, Florida and Georgia. They'll get together in Jacksonville next week. Florida, relieved Billy Napier of his coaching duties. So they have an interim coach, Billy Gonzalez. Georgia 6-1, 4-1. In Florida, like I said, they won against Mississippi State in a tight one, but they changed coaches, Doug. So that's all we have in the SEC right now. Those 7 games.
Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because the Vanderbilt quarterback is now being built up to be a Heisman favorite.
Yeah, right. Yeah, rightfully so. Yeah, he's magic. I keep saying he's magic. Diego Papi.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in terms of the Syracuse quarterbacks, Jakari Williams is one of the names that came about. Let's see, there's another one, freshman Rich Berlin, and then Joseph Filardi. So those are 3 of the options that Fran Brown has at his disposal at quarterback. In terms of our ACC games, AP, Stanford Cardinals are at Miami Hurricanes, right? So Stanford hit the road just like Cal, heading east to a big ACC showdown down in South Florida. Stanford sits at 3-4 right now, AP. But the big story this week is the return of their quarterback, Ben Goldbranson. He's expected to start after missing some time with a knee injury. And so he's been solid all season. He's got over currently 1,535 yards passing on 7 touchdowns. And his presence gives Stanford a little bit more mustard, So the Cardinals also features running back Michael Ford. He's been turning around 425 yards rushing at this particular time. And then wide out CJ Williams has been rocking and rolling. He leads the team with 465 yards receiving. Defensively, Matt Rose has been all over the field. He's got 56 tackles, and Colin Wright anchors the secondary and is the leader in the backfield. He's got 1 interception. Now, Miami, they're 5-1, AP. That's pretty darn good. And they're ranked in the top 10 for a reason. Their quarterback, remember him, Carson Beck from Georgia. The transfer portal is so dynamic these days. And I just think, I look at Fernando Mendoza went to Indiana. I'll get back on track here in a minute. But I'm just thinking about these quarterbacks. They're just ripe for the picking. When they have a great season, like Vanderbilt's quarterback, he's a senior, right, or a junior?
So he's like 6-7 years. He filed suit to play extra years and junior college and New Mexico State and Vanderbilt. And so I need a calculator.
These guys are making a career in college, right?
Yeah,
the big bucks and all of that good stuff. But it's kind of interesting. Carson Beck has, he's been phenomenal. He's got 484 yards on the season so far, AP. The ground game is powered by Fletcher, who has almost 500 yards rushing. And then what's
he have, Doug? The quarterback, Doug. What's he have? 1,400 yards, you said?
1,484.
1,484?
Yeah, Carson Beck. And on defense, keep your eye out for Mohamed Toure. He's got 30 tackles. And defensive back Bryce Fitzgerald, he's got 3 interceptions. So he's right behind Masses from Cal, who leads the country in interceptions with 4. On paper, this may look like a nice win for the Hurricanes, man. But if the quarterback from Stanford gets hot and their defense can slow them down a little bit, that may keep Miami's offense off the field, and it may be a pretty decent game. We'll see, any given Saturday.
Well, Stanford beat Florida State last week. That was a big surprise.
There you go. See? There you go.
Florida State's not playing well, but they're a team that beat Alabama to start the season, so they have some talent. Exactly. But they did beat Florida State, and Stanford, I think, lost their first game to Hawaii. So that's teams going in opposite directions.
That's correct. Yep. Bill Belichick is coming to play this weekend as well. He's going to be competing against another great coach, Tony Elliott from Virginia, right? So
good team.
Virginia at North Carolina. North Carolina's going to have the home field advantage. I remember in the beginning of the season, they had Michael Jordan there and Lawrence Taylor, all these greats, sitting up in the stands. But home field advantage does give you an opportunity to showcase your talents in front of the home crowd. Now, Virginia comes in at 6-1. They're playing confident under Coach Elliott. Chandler Morris has been efficient. He's got over 1,600 yards passing, and he's got some weapons around him. He's got a good running back. He's got a good wide out, Trail Harris, who's been dynamic. He's been making some key catches. He's got 3 touchdowns himself. And defensively, the Cavaliers can bring some pressure, right? So that's going to be very important. These sacks, getting the defense off the field in 3, that's going to be very important in terms of North Carolina and Virginia's competitive game this weekend. Now, Bill Belichick, he's sitting at 2-4 right now, AP, and they've shown some flashes, but that quarterback Lopez, he's got just only 600 yards passing. So they're not efficient. They're not putting up big numbers, but those metrics, man, again, they really don't mean anything. It's mano a mano when it comes to playing football. The linebacker Simpson and House, they will need to have big games. He's got a couple of sacks, Simpson does, and House leads the team with 34 tackles. So it's going to be strength versus resilience. Tony Elliott's disciplined Virginia squad against Belichick coached North Carolina team is hungry to prove that they can win at home in front of their crowd. And it should be a very cool game to check out. NC State at Pitt, AP. This weekend, this is a good one. NC State on the road at Pitt. The Wolfpacks are at 4-3, AP. They're trying to keep a winning record alive, and it's going to be a tough place to play. CJ Bailey has been solid at quarterback. He's got close to 1,800 yards passing, actually over 1,800, 1,850 yards to be exact. And it's a nice duo around him. Hollywood Smothers has been the engine in the backfield with 739 yards rushing. And Tyrell, that's a lot of yards. And Tyrell Anderson has been steady at the receiver position. He's got 445 yards through the air. And then defensively, North Carolina State's got Kadem Fordham. He's been all over the field, 69 tackles, AP, So now Pitt, they're 5-2, AP. They're no slouch at home. Eli Holston has thrown for over 1,000 yards, but they leaned a lot on their defense. So Rothstein Biles leads the team with 52 tackles, and Tamion Lindham is a playmaker in the secondary. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting to see these two because one of these games, this game could go either way, AP. So we'll just see how that one shakes out.
Yeah, Doug, that Pittsburgh, I think Eli is sitting on the bench. They brought in this freshman quarterback.
Okay.
I think Eli, he was the starter to begin the season, and he had those yards, like you said. But I think they went to this freshman not too long ago, freshman quarterback. I don't know his name. My name escapes me, but I think Pittsburgh, like I said, probably pretty tough at home.
Absolutely. That home field advantage. Now, the last game I have, AP, is SMU at Wake Forest. All right. This is a good game. Both teams are sitting at 5-2. Something's got to give, right? Mm-hmm. Kevin Jennings, he's been having a strong year for SMU. He's just 52 yards away from 2,000 yards passing. TJ Harden has been solid. Yeah, in the backfield, Romello Brinson leads the receivers with just over 500 yards, receiving yards. And on defense, Isaiah Wokobia is all over the field with 53 tackles, and Ahmad Moses has a couple of picks for the Mustangs. Now, Wake Forest has to be steady too, right? Robbie Ashford is thrown for over 1,100 yards, and Damon Claiborne gives them good balance with 539 yards rushing. Now, on the wide out, Taylor Barnes has 3 touchdowns on the season. He's not unfamiliar with getting into the end zone. And the defense is led by Hardy with 4.5 sacks. Plus the senior safety that they have, Nick Anderson, who he comes down. He plays safety, but he's playing in the box a lot. And he's got 50 tackles right now. So this one could go either way as well. SMU's speed against Wake Forest's balance. We'll see how this shakes out, but it should be a fun one. And this is going to be played in Winston-Salem. Now, to round things off, I got 3 byes, AP, just FYI. Clemson has a bye this week. Duke has a bye this week, and also Florida State to round out all of the ACC teams.
Right. So I know Clemson lost at SMU, and then Florida State lost at Stanford, and the other team was Duke. Doug, did they? I don't know. The result was last week for Duke. I can't recall, but those other 2 teams, they probably welcomed the bye.
Oh yeah, they heal up, get some rest,
regroup.
Regroup, reset.
Reset the thing. But anyway. So, Doug, that's our games this week in the ACC and the SEC, AP and DP, SEC, ACC, ACC, SEC. So we hope you enjoyed this edition and look forward to another commentary and observations and thoughts next week.
All right, AP. Thank you.
You're welcome.